Hi. Forget about the 4 Ps that you learn about in university. It's simplistic and unhelpful. It's about 30 years old and it's a consumer concept anyway. Just erase it. I've got another very simple paradigm for you. You might say simplistic. I don't think it is, but you be the judge. Marketers spend their effort on basically 3 things. Getting the market ready, getting the channel ready, and getting the two talking. In B2B, in complex B2B, which is the world that you live in and I live in. 3 things. We call the first one environmental marketing. It's about the environment. Some people call it air cover. I don't like that term. But environmental marketing is getting the market ready. Channel readiness is about getting the channel ready. You might have a direct sales channel or an indirect sales channel, kind of don't care. Whoever they are, everything that you do to find them, recruit them and equip them, train them, that's part of equipping, is channel readiness. And the final one is demand generation. So getting the market ready, getting the channel ready and getting the two talking. Demand generation doesn't need much explanation. It's a term that the industry's adopted. So how much effort do you spend getting the market ready? How much effort do you spend getting the channel ready? And how much effort do you spend getting the two talking? Turns out it depends. If the market's really early, there's no point doing any branding because you don't even know who the market is yet, nor what brand you should hold. Positioning and branding, they're different things, another day. Branding and positioning don't make a lot of sense in the very early stage of the market. Demand generation, well, which market are you generating demand for what product? I don't know, I'm trying to work it out, it's a new product. So in the early days, it's all about finding the best salespeople and giving them the best conversation they can have with early buyers. In the really mature end of the market, here we are in Geoffrey Moore's chasm, thanks Geoffrey. In the really mature stage of the market, then you're going to spend quite a bit of time on branding and positioning. I've got a lot of material on how to spend your effort at different stages, but for now, I just want to leave you with one simple thought. How much of your budget do you want to spend on each of getting the market ready, getting the channel ready, and getting the two talking? And it depends on how mature your market is in relation to the problem that you solve.
In a moment or two, I'll show you how we do that in Funnel Plan. But first, let me do 2 things. Firstly, I'll share with you the conclusions that we draw from this discussion and what it is that you need to do in your business. Secondly, I'll invite you to subscribe to the blog to receive more blogs like this. Let's get to the conclusion first. This is how I'd be allocating resources if it was my budget. Firstly, in the early stage of the market, I wouldn't even worry about branding. I'd focus all of my effort on equipping my channel to have the conversation. So it's going to be all about channel readiness. Perhaps a little bit of supporting demand generation, but really I'm relying on my salespeople to have the conversation. Secondly, as we move into the pragmatists, dealing with the pragmatists in the bowling alley, now you need to lift demand generation quite a bit. You probably want to do a little bit of positioning, and that means that your channel readiness is going to take a hit. Then as we move up through the maturity into the tornado phase, remember the tornado phase? The buyers already know that they need something. It's a question of whose. So now I'm going to back off my demand generation again. I've already created the demand. Now I need to prove that mine is the right solution. And I'm relying now on my channel to achieve that for me. So I'm going to lift my channel readiness and I'm going to back off the demand generation a little and I'm going to keep my positioning at roughly the same. Once the market starts to mature in Main Street, then actually my brand starts to matter. So I'm going to make a lot more room in environmental marketing. Again, I'm going to keep my demand generation down. And in order to make room in the budget for all of that environmental marketing, I'm going to have to back my channel readiness down again. As we move into the end of life of the market, now we're trying to find new uses or even new users of the product or service. And so now we need to kick up demand generation again because we need to convince them of the need for a product like this at all, let alone ours. So we're going to kick up demand generation and that means that we'll back off the positioning and environmental marketing again. And that's how I'd be spending if it was my money. If you got value out of this blog, then I'm going to invite you to subscribe to receive more. If you go to mathmarketing.com/blog, here it is here, mathmarketing.com/blog, you'll find that there's two options when you get there. You can subscribe to the twice a week blog. Now, Funnel Vision comes out twice a week. One is the video blog that you're listening to now, and one is a textual blog. Or you can subscribe to the Funnel Vision monthly. Now, the monthly is kind of an editor's grab. We take the best of the blogs through the month, and we share those with you, together with some insights from the wiki and a few other great insights. Some people choose to subscribe to both, and you're very welcome to do that. Go to mathmarketing.com/blog and make your choice now. So here's how we do that in the funnel plan. Now remember that by this stage you've already chosen which market you're going to serve, what type of organisation, what role, even what % of your effort you're going to give to each of those markets, and you've determined how mature they are. Now this is where the resource allocation comes in. Let's take that first market. Okay, so it's right up here. That first market, we've given it 40% of our effort. Now that 40% is going to be spend 10, 20 and 10. Because it's in the bowling alley, we need to put a lot of effort into creating demand. So we're going to allocate that 40, 20%, that is half of the 40, is going to go to demand generation. 10% is going to go to environmental marketing, in this case it's positioning, and 10% is going to go into channel readiness, to equip our channel to have the conversation. Now these percentages can be changed. By clicking on the change allocations, you can go through and change the default allocations that we recommend that you give to each stage of the market. You can leave them as they are, which is what I'm going to do now. And by changing the maturity of each market and how much of our focus that we give to each market, the recommended spends on environmental marketing, branding and positioning, channel readiness, which is all about getting the channel ready, and how much we spend on demand generation is set out for you automatically by Funnel Plan. So we've done everything that we can around defining really clearly our market, how much focus to give each part of the market, and what type of effort to apply to each market. I'll show you how we determine the best fit solution on another day. But for now, may your funnel be full and always flowing.